All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of How Do I Do This Anyways? Today's topic of conversation, we're going to be working on activity 213, putting it together, where essentially we're going to take a bunch of pieces and we're going to make a functional-ish selfie stick. Yay, because that's a thing people use. Let's get started. The activity is in here. You'll see a link when we get to it, when I publish it. It looks like this, okay? So this document follows along with the PLTW reading, which is linked right there, brings you right here. The PLTW activity, you can read through and you can answer questions 1 through 5. 5 is on here where it's asking you to go ahead and plan out your selfie stick. Okay. I'm going to make a suggestion where, for the sake of time, we skip to question 6. So, question 6 are these steps of how you're going to successfully get all the parts, because let's face it, that's a lot of parts to draft. It would be much better if somebody else were to do that. How do you get those? And then how do you put it together? So what we're going to do is, first off, come over here and click on this link right here. It'll take you to a Google Drive folder that I have created with all of the parts in it. So you're just going to go ahead and you're going to highlight. You're not letting me highlight. Why are you not letting me highlight? There we go. Highlight them all. And then you're going to right click and then you're going to download them. Click. And what it's going to do is it's going to zip them and then it's going to download them. Now, when they're zipped, they are compressed files for easier download. It should not take that long. And you should get something like that popping up in your bar at the bottom. You can also find this in your downloads folder. I'm going to click this little arrow right there and I'm going to say show in folder. Okay. And it should pop up in my downloads folder right there. It just did it. So now I'm going to come to my flash drive. I'm going to right click on my flash drive and I'm going to say open in a new window because I want to open my flash drive. And now you're going to navigate into your engineering folder. Let's see here. We are in assembly design. We're in 213. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new project folder. So if you have this new folder up here available, go ahead and click that. If not, just right click down here on this blank area and click new and click folder. And I'm going to call my folder 2-1-3 selfie stick, well, Inventor selfie stick. Screencast. You can call it your initials. That way this will distinguish this for me. So this is a brand new folder, completely empty, nothing up my sleeve. All right. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to come back to my downloads and I'm going to right click here on the download. And I'm going to go ahead and click this extract all. And now I'm going to navigate. I'm going to click browse and I'm going to find my flash drive. I'm going to find exactly where that folder is that I just made. Okay. So putting it together, selfie stick screencast. Boom. That's the folder that I just made. There's nothing in it. Now I'm going to go ahead and click, since it's right here listed, I'm going to click select folder and that's going to extract it into that folder. Okay. Let's let it think and double check. It's all there. Okay. So now what you should notice, first off, you see how you have a bunch of Inventor assembly parts and then an Inventor assembly? That assembly is what we're going to be working in first. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and come up here and I'm going to take this one and I'm going to close it. I don't want to open that one. I'm going to go ahead and leave that one as my model open. But I'm going to come right here and I'm going to double click that. And what that's going to do is it's going to open it. Now, here's where we start to have some fun. This is basically all of the parts that are in that folder. Okay, it automatically imported them because this assembly was created with them ahead of time. What we are going to do is we're going to start manipulating this thing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick and make sure that this shoe top is grounded. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. You see how it has that little pin by it? It's already grounded, but we're going to make sure that it stays grounded. I'm going to unclick it, and then I'm going to go ahead and click that again, and that grounds that. What that means is this other piece and any other pieces I can grab and move, but that one is not able to be moved. You always want to have one piece grounded and then everything else built off of that when you're making an assembly. Okay? So now we're going to go ahead and start putting our pieces together with this. I'm going to go ahead and start by selecting just the joint tool. And I'm going to go ahead and select a rigid joint. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bolt in that hole right there. So I got to be very careful about what I pick. I want to make sure I pick that geometry of the base of that bolt. And I'm going to click that because you select what you want to move and then you select where you would like to place that. That's how Inventor and Fusion and a lot of these programs work. So now, if I zoom in on this, you see how the head of the bolt is inside of this shoe and you got the actual shaft of the bolt sticking out? That's wrong. I want to flip that around. So now it looks right. So I'm going to click apply here, okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and click cancel because that one is done. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this part to the back side of this. So again, I'm going to click my joint. I'm going to click a rigid joint. And I want to move that plane to be matched on that plane. Look at that. And you see how it shook around and it's not able to move? All right, great. That was the animation. That looks good. I'm going to click apply. Now I'm going to click cancel. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that thing and try and move it around. And that tests the joint that I just made. It's not doing anything that I wouldn't want it to do. Okay. So next thing I'm going to go ahead and attach. I'm going to go ahead and attach this using a joint. I'm going to use a rotational joint. Okay. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select the geometry of the hole. And then I'm going to come around here and I want to select the geometry of this other hole. All right. Now, see how it rotates all the way around through? The direction of rotation is correct. And we would have to set up a little joint limit in order to get it to not rotate through this. That's not going to be the focus here. That'll be our focus later. So I'm going to click OK on this. Apply. Now, what I want to do here, you see how it's not centered? You see how it's open there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to that shoe adapter or that stick adapter, and I'm going to edit that. I'm going to say edit, and I want to adjust the gap. Okay. So, kitty, no. I want to play with that gap a little bit. So you can click and you can drag the arrow a little bit, and it should move it around on us. But instead of just dragging it, I want to actually put some numbers in. Let's see what 0.1 inch looks like. Okay, so that's too much. Let's try 0.05. 0.0, about a negative 0.05. Negative 0.05. Ooh, that looks good to me. So it looks symmetrical now. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And that just constrained a little gap in there to make sure that they are not going to collide. Now, you see how this just said save reminder? We've been doing a bunch of stuff. Let's make sure we save this correctly. I'm going to click File, and I'm going to go Save As. Whenever you're doing assemblies or whenever you're doing anything that's complicated, I strongly recommend you save multiple versions of what you've got. Okay, especially if you're about to try something that you don't know will work, you want to be able to go back to your original one. So I'm just going to rename this selfie stick underscore screencast. And then it's throwing the .iam at the end. You don't want to add that. It'll do it for you. And now I'm going to click save. And now the name pops up. Okay, not only did the name pop up here, but if I click here, you see how it's there? It just popped up with it and it populated it automatically here. So now, if I were to reopen this, this would be unchanged. This would be the original version again. We're going to go ahead and just continue to work on this screencast version of it. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I want to go ahead and put the base of this thing on there. So I see that these are two different parts. Wait, what? What? Oh man. So what we're going to do here, you see how this selfie stick can actually go into the hole because there's a cylinder in there, it's hollow. But on this top part that actually holds the phone, that's not hollowed out. That won't actually work. I like my assemblies to actually work. So I'm going to click here, and you see how it highlights over here in the browser? I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to click this delete button, and it just deleted that part. However, I need that part in there to complete my selfie stick. So I'm going to go ahead and click this place button, and I want to place a file. I already adapted the file. Where is it? Phone holder bottom. Oh, wait, selfie stick 2. I got to find the folder. So let's go putting it together. Selfie stick screencast, phone holder bottom JG. I saw this problem before and I fixed it with a new part. Okay, so all I'm doing is just clicking one time in order to set that thing. And now I'm going to go ahead and click escape, and it'll drop at that one part that I adapted. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create another rigid joint. Rigid. I want to select that, and I want to place it over here on that. Let's wait for the animation. Oh, good. It's backwards. Since it's backwards, I just have to click this little flip button, and now just rotate it around. Yep, that looks all right. I'm going to apply that. Cancel that. Now I have to get this part into here. I need to make it so that way this arm right here is in that cylinder right there. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a cylindrical joint. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick the cylinder that I want in the hole. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick the hole that I want the cylinder in. And now it does this. So cylinders typically will work like that, where they can move this translational motion backwards and forwards, and they can rotate around. We have to stop it from rotating around. So instead of using a joint to do this, if you add another joint to these two pieces, it's going to interfere. What we're going to then do is use a constraint instead. This is slightly different, but still the same. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use this insert constraint. I think we'll just use a mate. We're going to use a mate constraint, and we have to hover over until we get the axis glowing. Okay, but we have to make sure that we are doing the thing we want to move first. So we're going to do that constraint. You see how I hovered over it and that green line lit up? I want that axis, and I want that axis. And did you hear that weird sound? Yeah, we want that. Now I'm going to click OK. And now when I click and move this thing, it will not deviate. This side the axis of this side has to line up with the axis of this side. And this one will only align up with that one. But since we have a joint in here, it allows for this motion in this direction. It allows that degree of freedom. Now, let's see here. I want to go ahead and place another joint. For the sake of argument, since this is just going to screw into the bottom here, we just want to make another rigid joint. Click that. And now click where I want it to go. All right, that looks good to me. Click apply, cancel, back out a little bit, and I'm going to test this joint a little bit. I can move it back and forth, but the stick will not come out of that hole. This one will still slide. So that looks decent to me. Now I need to make another constraint that will allow this rod to slide back and forth on that rod. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click my joint tool again, and I'm going to go ahead and select slider. Okay, so this is going to allow a slider joint here. I want that cylinder on that. Oh, geez, it's backwards. Oh, and geez, it's going the wrong way. Cancel that. We're not going to do a slider there. Let's just go ahead and do a cylinder again. I like cylinders. Cylinders are great. Cool. So now we just need to flip it. And now we can click apply. And now we have this thing that we can move this handle in and out, and we can change that angle. See? Yay. All right, cool. So that is assembling your selfie stick. Save one thing. We are missing a thumb screw. You see how there's a hole there? You need a thumb screw to hold all that actually together. So we're going to, instead of like drafting our own part, we're going to go ahead and find one, okay? There are places that all they do is make screws, nuts, and bolts, such as McMaster Car. If you click on this website, click on that link, it'll take you to the McMaster Car website. The steel pins that I got for your activity, yeah, they're from McMaster Car. Come on. All right. Now, I gave you the link. Here's the part number if for some reason the link doesn't work for you. However, it is just this 1032, 1-inch long, fully threaded, 2-arm thumb screw. Yay. So what we're going to do is we're going to download the CAD part for this. They have a few varieties of these things available, but we're going to click the SolidWorks because that works really well with Inventor. We're going to click download, okay? And we're going to let it do its thing. Looky there, it downloaded. So that means now we need to place that file into our project folder. So click download, the download looks done. Click my project folder, and all I'm going to do is click drag drop it over into here. Okay, you need to make sure any parts that you're using in your assembly are in your project folder. Otherwise, they will be lost when you go and you switch computers or something else happens. So now it's in there. We're going to go ahead and come back to Inventor, and we're going to click place again, and we're going to place imported CAD file. Okay. And it automatically populated with our project folder since we already imported that other file. However, if it didn't auto-populate, you got to click back through here and you got to find your file in your flash drive. Okay, but this is what we just downloaded. That's a preview of what we want. And we're going to click open. And it's going to say, hey, this is not an IPT. We need to convert this. And so it already figured that out, selected a bunch of things, and all we need to do is click OK. Okay, and it's going to make another copy of that. It's thinking. See how it showed up? Cool. I just click and it drops it for me. Now I'm going to hit escape so I'm not placing multiple of those bolts. And I'm going to show you something else. if I come back to my project folder, let's see here, click refresh. You see how I had the thumb screw here? Yeah, it's there. Everything's in there. Now, what we want to go ahead and do is click the joints again. And for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to go ahead and make this another rigid joint. If you want to make this a rotational joint, you can. It should be the same. But I'm just going to go with a rigid joint because typically when you screw in a screw that's a thumb screw like this, you don't want it to move around too easily. So the idea is you make it tight so it's rigid. Click apply, click cancel. And now we have a fully functional-ish constrained selfie stick. Now, obviously, there's some flaws with this design simply because we have not set up our limits. We will come back and set up limits in a later video, but that's how you make it. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. Otherwise, hopefully this helped you out. This is the whole thing. You should just go ahead and hit print screen and put this into your paper that you're making for submission. Have a great day.